Hello everyone. Welcome to the lecture GMP History Learning from the Past. In this lecture, we will sail through the significant historical events which led to the foundation of good manufacturing practices in pharmaceutical and biotechnology industries. In particular, we will discuss some of the undesired tragedies that have forced the regulatory agencies to monitor and regulate the manufacturing of drugs and medicines. We will close this lecture with familiarization to regulatory agencies and societies which help the industries by publishing the various guidelines and compliance requirements. In the early 90s, research studies have demonstrated that drug sulfanilamide could fight streptococcal bacterial infections in humans. This discovery has prompted several high profile pharmaceutical companies such as Merck, Squibb, and Eli Lilly to begin commercial production of this drug. The drug was commercially produced in powdered capsules and tablets and soon became a blockbuster drug. As tablet and capsules were difficult for consumption in children, the SE Messengill Company of Bristol decided to produce a liquid form of this drug. The liquid formulations was used for treatment of sore throats in children and it allows ease of consumption in children. Messengill, chief chemist, developed a novel drug liquid formulation which uses diethylene glycol as a solvent. The test was performed internally in the company and found as per all the acceptance criteria. The liquid drug formulation became soon blockbuster and by September 1937, Messengill had distributed more than 240 gallons drug across the country. In October 1937, the first death was reported in Oklahoma where 6 patients died of renal failure after treatment with this liquid drug. Immediately, investigations were initiated and researchers quickly identified that the solvent diethylene glycol used to make the liquid drug as the cause of the deaths. A total of 71 adults and 34 children have died with indications such as kidney failure, stoppage of urine, and severe abdominal pain. The disaster provoked a public outcry that led to the passage of establishment of Food, Drug and Cosmetic Act in the 1938 by United States Food and Drug Administration, and this act came within a few months of the tragedy, which gave the FDA power to monitor the safety of new drugs. After successfully manufacturing drugs for many decades, the biggest tragedy in pharmaceutical industry occurred in 1962. The thalidomide disaster is one of the darkest episodes in pharmaceutical research history. During the late 1950s and early 1960s, a new drug known as thalidomide hit the markets. It was marketed as a sleep aid as well as a safe medication to ease the symptoms of morning sickness in pregnant women. Unfortunately, this so called wonder drug was soon found to cause serious birth defect in newborn babies. The damage was actually revealed in 1962, that is after 2 years of launching of the drug. Those who took thalidomide during pregnancy gave birth to the children with side effects such as blindness. Moreover, thousands of babies worldwide born with malformed limbs as illustrated in the figure. Interestingly, in United States of America, no cases were observed due to the diligence of a woman named Frances Oldham Kelsey. She was a PhD in pharmacology and was working for FDA. During her studies, she has learned that some drugs can pass through the placenta during pregnancy. Despite the fact that the drug thalidomide was approved in Canada and many countries in Europe and Africa, Kelsey withheld the approval of this drug. She has requested additional studies because of her concern on the drug's impact on the nervous system and movement through the placenta. When these deformities were eventually traced to the use of thalidomide during pregnancy in so many other countries, Kelsey became a hero for keeping thalidomide away from the US market. Because of the high profile nature of the thalidomide incident, United States Congress unanimously passed the Drug Amendments of 1962. The disaster also led to tougher testing and drug approval procedures in many other countries such as United Kingdom. The next important disaster is poisoned Tylenol capsule. It is another important historical learning which resulted in new dimension in GMP regulation for packaging of the drugs. The event occurred in the year 1982. Tylenol was a painkiller drug manufactured by Johnson and Johnson. It was one of the most successful over-the-counter products in the United States with over 100 million users. During the fall of 1982, for reasons not known, Tylenol capsules were replaced with cyanide-less capsules, and those packages were resealed and again deposited on the shelves of at least a half dozen or more pharmacy stores in the Chicago area. The incident was reported when 12-year-old Mary Kellerman told her parents that she felt like she had a cold. The parents gave her Tylenol capsule, but within a few hours she died. Sooner, other reports have confirmed that 6 people died in this tragic incident, including 3 members from one family, 2 brothers and one of their wives, and a woman who had just given birth to her child. The Johnson and Johnson company first action was to immediately alert customers across the nation via the media not to consume any type of Tylenol product. The company also stopped the production and advertisement of Tylenol. Realizing the vulnerability of the product, the company ordered a national recall of 31 million bottles of Tylenol. The outcome of this incident resulted in stringent guidelines for packaging of pharmaceutical products. In 1983, the US Congress passed what was called Anti-Tampering Drug Act, making it a federal offense to tamper with consumer products. Owing to the learning from this incident, it is mandatory to market drug products in tamper-free seal containing packaging. Some of the commonly used tamper-free packaging are illustrated on the right hand side of the slide. The first figure shows 2 glass vials with crimped seals in blue and golden color. The second figure shows the tamper-free packaging of capsules, and the last figure shows glass ampule with a breakable neck. Other tamper-free packing include syringe with locking systems and cartridges which have a pen which can be unlocked only after using the complete use. So based on these learnings of these incidents, individual country has established their own regulatory bodies to monitor the drug manufacturing and distribution control. The responsibilities include product approval, audit of manufacturing site to review the manufacturing batches and testing of the products and storage practices. Some examples of regulatory agencies are shown here. For example, United States of America has a regulatory agency which is known as Food and Drug Administration, and also it is very commonly known as US FDA. In Europe, the regulatory agencies which controls the manufacturing of drugs is EMEA, that is European Medicine Evaluation Agency. In Australia, the agency is TGA, Therapeutic Goods Administration. In Japan, it is known as PMDA, Pharmaceuticals and Medical Devices Agency. In UK, the agency which controls the drug manufacturing and distribution is MHRA, Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Authority. Similarly, in India, the agency which controls the drug distribution and manufacturing is CDSCO, Central Drug Standard Control Organization. But the establishment of regulatory requirements by individual countries has caused enormous difficulties for industries to export the drugs. For example, a manufacturer in India is obliged to follow the national regulatory agencies requirement, that is CDSCO regulations. But if it intends to export products to Australia, it also need to understand and follow the regulatory requirements of Australian agency, that is TGA. To address this problem, various global organizations have attempted to collate and summarize the minimum essential requirements of GMP for a pharmaceutical industry. For example, ICH, International Council for Harmonization, has released multiple guidelines in disciplinary areas such as quality, safety, and efficacy, along with various guidelines in multidisciplinary areas. Another important organization is World Health Organization, commonly known as WHO. They have published a series of technical reports which covers the various aspects of good manufacturing practices such as handling of reference standards, documentation controls, and so on. PICS, Pharmaceutical Inspection Cooperation Scheme, have also published the GMP guidelines which covers the controls and distribution of drug products along with the controls required for the drug product manufacturing. ISO, International Organization for Standardization, also provides various certifications which allows an organization to establish the quality systems and attain the certification to prove that they are doing a manufacturing as per the GMP norms. Due to the efforts of these organizations, the harmonization of GMP practices has been achieved across various countries. Also, many of the countries have adopted these guidelines instead of publishing their own regulatory requirements, especially African countries and South Asian countries. That's the end of the lecture. I hope you have gained the knowledge about history of GMP and various regulatory agencies. Thank you very much.